Alright, what's going on everybody? Welcome back to another video here on the channel, and today, man, we're going to be talking about a recent statement that was made by the, I believe, Ubisoft CEO, right? Or, well, this is actually coming from what I'm reading here from the Director of Subscriptions, which, compared to the topic that we're talking about today, quite an ironic, I would say, job title to have. It's pretty obvious what this guy's intentions are, right? I mean, it's literally within his self-interest as a person with a job to maximize the amount of people who are paying for some sort of subscriptions at Ubisoft. But this is more or less also a conversation about the direction of the gaming industry at large, right? Now, here on the channel, historically, we've talked about plenty of different things that have happened in the gaming industry that most people would really kind of see as a net negative, right? But this is genuinely one of the more important conversations that we could have in the industry right now. I mean, the fact that there are people out there who legitimately believe that when you purchase a video game digitally or whatever, right, that you should not own that purchase, right? You should not own that game. It's actually, like, absurd that people think that way, but that is kind of the way that gaming is trending. I mean, we've already seen this over the last few years with the rise of, digital media, things like that. More and more stores have started to choose to not carry physical media like DVDs or CDs anymore because, well, everyone's buying everything digitally, right? But the problem with this move is that when products become digital and you cannot physically hold the media in your hand, you cannot hold that copy of Baldur's Gate 3 on DVD or CD for your PlayStation or whatever, right? That it opens up an opportunity for, companies like Ubisoft, Activision, EA, all these scumbag companies we all mostly hate, right? It opens up opportunities for them to screw the consumers in completely new and revolutionary ways. I mean, the idea 15 years ago that you would purchase a video game for $60, well now $70, and that would not legally entitle you owning that game, that was nonsense. But that is more or less the reality that we're going towards in real life. So Ubisoft is at a point where they literally do not want you to own your games anymore. And truth be told, this is just them saying it, but I mean, pretty much every massive company making video games, they're kind of wanting this to happen too. Now, before we get into the article, let me explain to you just why it is so important for these companies to try and move to this subscription service model, try to take the actual ownership out of digital media, things like that, right? So let's say you work at Ubisoft and you have made Game A, okay? And this is a game that, it's compatible with, any other console or whatever. But of course, you don't really care about that, right? How can we get as many copies of this game out as possible? Well, you could put it on the market for sure, or you could create a subscription service for like $9.99 a month, right? And you could just bundle a whole shit ton of games on there. And instead of somebody paying you $70 for a purchase of one video game, you can now up your metrics across the board with several different games, and you can get them to pay $120 a year to play and have access to those video games. Not only do they make more money in the long run, but they get a recurring purchase out of the customer. They don't have just the one-time purchase that they have to rely on. They basically get your money every month. So gaming studios, we've already seen it, right? You got things like your Xbox Game Pass and your EA Plays and whatnot, right? And to be fair, right, things like Xbox Game Pass, they're not terrible deals, right? Like if you actually, look at what you get for the price, it's a pretty damn good deal. But the problem is companies, they don't see that convenience the same way that we see it, right? And it's leading to a massive disconnect where they're trying to go one way and gaming people, we're just trying to go the other, man. There's a lot of debate around subscription in video games. Today, the business model is the dominant way for paying for TV, film, and music, but that is currently not the case in this industry. Games are typically much longer, many of them are free or feature some form of monetization other than this, and AAA publishers have argued that the numbers just don't add up. Nevertheless, Ubisoft is seeing growth in this sector. Tremblay says that October last year was the biggest month in Ubisoft Plus history. Quote, "The point is not to force users to go down one route or the other," he explains. Quote, "We offer purchase, we offer subscription, and it's the gamer's preference that is important here. We are seeing some people who choose to, or by choosing to subscribe now, but it all works." So basically, they're trying to market this like, oh, well, this subscription is actually great because we can bring you not only brand new day one release titles that you're interested in, but at the same time, you can play our whole back catalog of video games too for only $9.99 a month. So they're tricking you because obviously 30 video games wrapped up in a subscription, that to your brain looks larger than one, right? Like, oh, I'm getting 30 games for $9.99 a month when I can get one game for $70 straight up. The only problem is obviously you don't own any of the shit that you're paying for. You're just buying the rights to play it for a little while. And that's the problem with digital media in general. This is something that folks like myself have been talking about for quite some time. Yeah, purchasing things digitally is great and grand, right? When you can save the time and the effort of having to go to the store or, order a physical copy on some storefront or whatever, but ultimately, you do not own your purchase, and it doesn't even matter if you're using a subscription service or not. If you go buy Grand Theft Auto 5 right now off of fucking Steam, you don't actually own Grand Theft Auto 5. You own the right and license to play for it as long as they say it's okay. And funny enough, they actually kind of directly address this in the whole Ubisoft conversation and whatnot anyway. One of the things we saw is that gamers are used to, a little bit like DVD, having and owning their games. That's the consumer shift that needs to happen. They got comfortable not owning their CD collection or DVD collection. That's a transformation that's been a bit slower to happen in games. As gamers grow comfortable in that aspect, you don't lose your progress. If you resume your game at another time, your progress file's still there. It hasn't been deleted. You don't lose what you've built in the game or your engagement with the game, so it's all about feeling comfortable with not owning your game. Quote, I still have 2 boxes of DVDs. I definitely understand the gamer's perspective with that, but as people embrace that model, they will see that these games will exist, the service will continue, and you'll be able to access them when you feel like. That's reassuring. Quote, streaming is also a thing that works really well with subscription, so you pay when you need it as opposed to paying all the time. So these people have now, at that point, suckered you into 2 recurring payments because, let's say you want to play fucking, I don't know, Call of Duty, right? I don't know why you'd want to play the new Call of Duty, but let's say you do. You could either A, purchase it for $70, get a physical copy of it, put it into your PlayStation or whatever, install the fucking game off the disc, and then play it like that, right? You own the game, you got it, good. Or you could get a digital copy, or in this case, right, since this is what we're talking about, a subscription service that includes said game. And not only can you pay Activision Blizzard for the right to stream their video game over the internet until they say it's not okay, but you can also pay your internet service provider to allow you to play that shit, to like download and use it or whatever, right? Now keep in mind, right, let's say you got a physical disc and you install it, right? Obviously it's Call of Duty, so you're not gonna be able to play it online, right, if you don't have internet access, but if you have a subscription service or whatever that requires you to connect to the internet and whatnot to use it and to play it or whatever, if you don't have internet, you can't even access your shit. There are hoops to jump through that people are very unaware of when it comes to digital purchases and whatnot. And I get, right, that they always market it as, oh, but it's such a hassle saver, right? But in the long run, right, when you peel back that fucking layer, you realize that, yeah, there are still hurdles and hoops to jump through and whatnot, right? They're just not the same kind. And truth be told, the hoops and hurdles you have to jump through with these ones, they fucking suck compared to the physical ones. So, but isn't that kind of crazy to hear? Like, we have a higher up at Ubisoft openly saying you personally should become more comfortable with not owning the games that you're paying for. These companies genuinely want you as a consumer to roll over and just be okay with not legitimately owning the property you purchase. Literally, in what industry would that ever be considered normal or acceptable, right? Let's say that you go to Walmart, okay, and you can buy lettuce at Walmart, right? At least, I've been able to purchase lettuce at Walmart. It's not like fucking lettuce is gold bars or something. So I go to Walmart and I need a head of lettuce, okay? I can buy that at the store physically for $1, $2, whatever, I don't know. I'm not out buying heads of lettuce from Walmart, so I don't have the top price right off my head, but I take that I take that head of lettuce home, right, and I own it. But let's say I buy it on Walmart.com, and there's a really small line in their EULA or in their fucking online terms that says, hey, at any point in time, we can come back into your house and take that head of lettuce that you've purchased, because you don't actually own the purchase, you only own a license to access that content while we say it's okay. You would think that that's fucking stupid, and rightfully so. Why would they come take the shit that I've already bought and paid for? But that is quite literally what these companies can do. If we go to subscription subscription services and digital-only media and things like that. They don't like the way you act in game, they can revoke your access to your whole fucking account, right? I mean, gaming companies are at the point in time where it's very clear what they're doing, right? I mean, especially the major ones. And Ubisoft, they've been known, at least in my opinion, to be one of the worst gaming companies out there, right? They're up there with like the EA, Activision type of gang, right? They're fucking one of those companies that they've made a lot of really iconic and great games, but as a company, I cannot stand them. And I mean, this is just a perfect example why. Like, I don't understand why people genuinely believe that any of these companies have your best interest in mind. Like, the only thing that this guy's entire job is for is to lessen your digital ownership at the expense of you, right? Like, they want you to become more dependent on these companies for their products while paying them more money more consistently over the long term. It's like, but then there's people who unironically defend this shit. They're like, well, if you didn't want that to happen, you should have read the EULA, dude. Like, they will unironically defend the rights of billion-dollar companies to revoke access to content you purchased or revoke access to subscriptions you've paid for because, well, I read the EULAs and you don't. Like, that's a real fucking person out there that genuinely exists, man. And I don't understand it because these people, for whatever reason, are too stupid to realize that they're in the same boat you're in, basically, and that Ubisoft is not actually going to give them a cookie award. There's just really nothing good about this for anybody except for Ubisoft. I mean, there's no reason anyone should roll over and accept shit like this. And I mean, you once again, people are always going to say like, oh, but bro, this is just Ubisoft. This is one executive. You have no idea what the rest of the gaming industry thinks. Yeah, I'm sure all these billion-dollar companies that have been fucking everybody over for years, right? With the most anti-consumer practices possible. I'm sure they really all have our best interests in mind, right? Surely the very nice, decent, non-sexual, assaulty folks over at Activision Blizzard would definitely, absolutely not fuck us if they had the chance, right? I mean, these companies, their whole shtick is just like unconsensually fucking people, so I mean, you think they're not gonna do it to you too, digitally? Like, come on, man. It's just mind-blowing to me how the gaming industry has shifted, right? Like, I think, see shit like Paramount Plus and Netflix, and they're like, yeah, we can do that. But I mean, like, at the same time, this isn't really about the gaming industry, but I mean, if you know anything about streaming services, people are pretty fucking fed up with this stuff too. Like, yeah, you know, when Netflix first came out, it was great. Oh shit, I can watch any show that I want to for $10 a month instead of paying for cable. Wow, that sounds like a good deal. Now we've just gone full circle and it's cable again. You have to buy 30 different streaming services to see all the shit you want to see. Every 3 months, they hike the price up again on, oh, well, actually now we're doing $17.99. Inflation is the reason. Like, nobody in the gaming industry wants that same fucking pattern, right? No one wants that same route. And what people seem to not get is once you get it to the point where subscription services are the dominant form of purchase in video games, you've now given all the power to these companies. And like, yeah, this fucking dude can sit here all he wants and say, oh, but it's about giving the consumer choice. If they want to make the purchase, that still counts too. First off, digitally purchasing video games, we've proven time and time again, you're not purchasing the game, you're purchasing the right to play the game, so that's misleading in and of itself. And second off, they have no financial incentive to let that be the case. They have no financial incentive to accept $70 from you one time over taking $120 from you over the course of a year. To have the same exact amount of ownership of the product that you want to play. There is literally no fucking financial incentive for that to be the case. And as much as people are, you know, crapping on Ubisoft for this, rightfully so, this is every gaming company. The difference is, most of them were smart enough to do it in the shadows. Most of them didn't have an executive that was stupid enough to say some dumb shit like this, out loud in front of everybody. That's really the conundrum here in this situation. So, anyway, I just wanted to give my 2 cents on this whole thing, man. I'll wrap this video up with the most sound piece of logic surrounding this argument, right? You always hear game companies talking about piracy and how that's a problem, right? Well, here's a little 2 cents for you here when it comes to that. If me purchasing your game digitally, purchasing the subscription service, whatever it may be, is not considered ownership of the thing that I'm purchasing, then surely me pirating that same game off of, you know, Pirate Bay or whatever, right? That can't technically be stealing ownership of the game. Like, if me paying $70 is legally the same as me just going and downloading it for free, quote unquote, illegally, what incentivizes me to not just pirate the fucking game? What incentivizes me to not just pirate all of Ubisoft's games? They don't even realize, like, how far they're sinking their own ship in the seas of the Pirate Bay just to try and squeeze and nickel and dime some more money out of unsuspecting or uncaring folks. But, well, let it be the way that it is. I'm gonna keep on doing the way that I do things, and we'll see how it works out in general. I'm sure we'll lose, unfortunately, because people are stupid, but anyway, with that being said, thank you guys for watching. If you did enjoy, make sure to leave a like. Subscribe if you're brand new around here on the channel. Follow me over on Twitter and Twitch at @SubToOptimus. Make sure to check out Shoptimus down below. Thank you to my Watch Optimus subscribers. Your support helps the channel tremendously. And until my next video, guys, this is Optimus, well, talking about Ubisoft not wanting you to own your games. And signing out. And that's a wrap on this video, but a big shout out to my Optimus Nation supporters. You guys are the real MVPs here. Your support with just $10 a month unlocks a treasure trove of exclusive videos, constantly updated, archived livestream VODs, and early access to all new uploads. Thanks for watching, and see you soon.